Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're testing out these Titanium Nunchaku in addition to some of the other weapons we just added to the KarateMart.com website. But before we begin, if you just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. So last week we tested out some of the newest weapons we recently added to the KarateMart.com website. And then I asked you to go to the community tab and vote for which one you like best. And you guys went to the community tab and voted for the Roman Gladius sword. I absolutely loved how much damage this did to the Wing Chun dummy. I mean, look at this huge piece of wood that it took out of it. It was so awesome. So excellent choice, guys. Now, one of the things I love so much about our YouTube channel is how I've gotten to know so many of you over the last few years. I mean, some of you guys join me on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. for our YouTube live video premieres, and a lot of you add comments each week so I get to know you a little bit better. Now, one of the things I'm starting to do is just respond to some of my favorite comments each week. And this week we had a few that I really liked. So my favorite comment on our channel this last week was from Mac Curtis 730. And his comment was, "I should have known Amanda would like to go clubbing with Kyle." Which I thought was so funny because he's referring to when Amanda was trying to strike me with the club and I had the other club in my hand. Great comment, Mac. One of the things that's so funny about that is Amanda actually loves to go clubbing. She loves to go to EDM concerts. But when it comes to me, my idea of a good night would be just watching a movie at home. Another comment we got was from Vic Meyer 7190. He said, "Where are the nice ladies?" And then he put a sad face on there like he's crying because he hasn't seen the ladies in a while. Now, Vic, I'm sorry. I know that I'm not as easy on the eyes as those two girls are. I get that. I try my hardest to be, but I'm just not. But Amanda and Mel are still here helping out with all the videos. And there's going to be days when I just don't have the time to make the videos. So they're definitely going to be back making videos in the future. But why don't you two just go and say hi really quick on camera just so they know that you're actually here? Yeah, see, much easier on the eyes than me, so I get it. And then one of the other things I wanted to mention too is that one of our YouTube subscribers who I absolutely love, who goes by the screen name The Real Romans 13, sent me over this box in the mail yesterday. And we opened it up and I just want to show you what he sent me. He sent me 2 coconuts, which is so funny because I would say it was probably about a year ago, wasn't it, that I just made a comment about how I'd love to use coconuts during one of our videos, but they're so difficult to find in Arizona. So he took the time to actually send me coconuts from across the country. So thank you so much. I'm actually really excited to use these down the road. I don't know what we're going to use them with, but we're going to have a blast trying them out. So thank you, Romans 13. I really do appreciate it. But this week, we're going to be looking at some of our newest weapons we recently added to the KarateMart.com website. So at the end of this video, just make sure you go to the community tab and vote for which weapon you like best. And as always, there's links in the description of the video so you can find out more information on each of these products. But without further ado, let's go on to our very first item. All right, and our very first weapon is the 24-inch Predator blowgun. Look at this. We used to carry a lot of blowguns a long time ago. We had all the different sizes available, but they became very difficult to ship. And now we've streamlined our shipping, so we're actually going to be expanding our line of blowguns again to carry all sorts of different sizes. So I'm really excited about that because I absolutely love blowguns. Now this specific blowgun is pretty cool. We've got an aluminum shaft that has a nice black finish to it, so that is going to be super stealthy for you. I love this oval-shaped mouthpiece on there. It actually fits around my mouth just perfectly. And then it's got this anti-inhale feature to it. So if we do put in a dart, you're not going to be sucking in and accidentally suck in the dart into your throat. That would absolutely be bad. So I love the fact that it has that little safety feature to it. Now, one of the other cool things about this is it actually has a sight on the end of the barrel, which When I was a kid, I used to use these things all the time, which I want to preface that by just saying these are definitely not a children's toy. These things are actually pretty dangerous, and a lot of people use them for hunting and stuff, so just be aware of that. But when I was a kid and had one of these, I did not have the sight on the end, so I think that's a pretty cool little addition. I never needed to use it in the past, but I do want to try it today to see how much it actually helps. Another thing that's really neat about this is you can kind of change up the look of it by just removing the mouthpiece, removing the sight at the end. You can change this quiver here to move that up there if you want. You can kind of move the pieces around just to make it more suitable for you. Now the quiver comes with 10 steel darts, and each of these darts has kind of a bright color to them, which is really nice because if you're shooting these outside, that'll make them much easier to find. We also have this little foam piece up here so we can get a good grip on the blowgun. But I want to test this thing out. I'm just going to grab one of these darts here and I'm going to stick it into the mouthpiece down here and I'm going to push it past the anti-inhale seal. So all I have to do then is just point at my target. I'm actually going to look through the sight there. And did you see how well that struck in there? I mean, that thing is in nice and tight into the wing chun dummy. Super easy. I'm going to go back just a little bit further this time. Grab the dart off, stick it into the mouthpiece, push it past that anti-inhale seal. Go back a little bit further. And I mean, it's perfectly right on center. You guys would not believe how easy these things are to shoot. It's actually really, really amazing. Now the total length of this is approximately 24 inches and then it weighs approximately 2.8 ounces. But one other thing I want to mention is just check your local laws because you want to make sure you're doing all the right things with the weapons that you order. But that's about all I have to say about this, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away and let's move on to our next weapon. All right, and our next weapon is the leather wrapped brass knuckles. Look at these things. Aren't those things cool? I love them. So first off, these are made entirely from brass, and then they've had these little ridges machined into the brass that give them a really mean looking look. But the thing I like the most about it is that they've added this little piece of leather here onto the palm grip just to give you a little more shock resistance when you're using the brass knuckles. Now when it comes to brass knuckles, there's actually two different ways to use them. You can either punch with them, or you can push them up on your knuckles a little bit higher and swipe with them. Now this specific pair, because of how they're shaped and the size of the palm grip, they actually feel way more comfortable swiping with them. So if we look at how that's held into my hands, we can actually tell that that's in there very comfortably and it's going to provide a lot of shock resistance if we're going to use it. So let's go ahead and actually just test that out really quick. I'm going to move around the Wing Chun dummy just a little bit because there's so much damage from that sword last week. So let's go ahead and just strike right here. Oh yeah, that actually is not hurting my hand at all. And you can see that's doing some damage to the Wing Chun dummy. So let's look at the knuckles and we can see that there's no damage to that brass at all. Looks really good. My hand still looks in great shape. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Now the finger hole diameter on these is approximately 1 inch, which is just about the right size for most people's hands. You can see that there's a little bit of space up there, but if you have enormous hands, just keep that in mind. Now the total width of these is approximately 4 3/4 inches, the height is approximately 3 inches, and the total weight is approximately 6.7 ounces. And then the last thing I have to mention is check your local laws because there are very strict laws in some states against knuckle dusters, so just be aware of that. But that's about all I have to say about this, so let's move on to our very next weapon. All right, and our next weapon is the high impact training rapier. Look at that. Look how long that is. This is definitely different from something we've shown off on Weapons Wednesday before, but I think it is so awesome, so I'm excited to show it off. So rapiers were originally used for dueling in Western Europe, but over time, these duels transitioned to the sport of fencing. Now, I'm not going to stand here and claim to know everything about fencing because I know a lot of you out there know a lot more about it than I do, and you guys are just going to call me a fencing fraud. So I'm just going to do my best here. Now, this specific rapier is made out of a thermoplastic, so it's completely non-metal. And one of the things that I thought was important about that is if you look at a steel rapier, they have a sort of flex to them. Like when they're actually thrusting, you see the blade kind of bend just a little bit. Now this specific blade has about the same level of rigidity as a steel blade, which makes it perfect for parrying and thrusting and cutting, which are all very important in the fencing process. And because it is hexagonal instead of round, it actually makes it just a little bit more rigid and a little bit more durable. We can also see that there's this little ball on the end up there, which is very important because if we are using this for fencing practice, we're not going to accidentally stab our opponent. Now, I just want to preface that by saying it is important to wear proper fencing gear if you are practicing with something like this. Now, if we look at the handle, we can see that we've got this really nice hand guard on here as well as a D guard. And then the grip on here is actually semi-ergonomic and very comfortable in my hand. We can also see that there's a lanyard hole here if we wanted to add a wrist strap to it. But I want to test this thing out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the Wing Chun dummy around so we have kind of a flat area to strike. You can see right there, it's kind of flat. So first off, let's just go ahead and test it out with thrusts. So if I'm going to thrust at this, I just kind of go forward, and look how that blade just bends perfectly for this. I mean, that is actually perfect for thrusts. Now, I'm going to go a little crazy when it comes to cutting. I know you wouldn't normally do this with a rapier, but I want to really test out the durability of this. So if you guys could just move back a little bit, I'm going to throw on my safety glasses, and I'm going to try striking this thing pretty hard just to see if it'll hold up against some good strikes. So here we go. Okay, so I mean, I was hitting that thing hard, and you can see that there's no damage to it at all. It actually held up very, very nicely, slightly bent, but because it is polypropylene, I was able to bend it right back. So I'm actually super impressed with this. Now, the overall length is approximately 40 inches. The blade length is approximately 33.5 inches, and the total weight is approximately 11.6 ounces. So I'm really liking this thing. In fact, I would love for one of the employees to get one of these too so I can just practice with them every day. But that's about all I have to say about this, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and let's move on to our very next weapon. All right, and our next weapon is the Dark Woods Toothpick Knife. Look at that. I saw this come in earlier, and I actually really, really like it. So first off, we can see that it's got a really nice synthetic leather sheath to it. And then we've got this removable strap on here. So we can see it's got a little removable piece here. And we can remove it if we want. But what I like about that strap is that we could hook it to a belt. We could hook it into a purse. We could hook it to a boot. We could hang it onto a hook on the wall. But you guys want to see the knife itself. So let's go ahead and check out the knife itself. And look at that, look how small that is. I love these little toothpick knives. I think they're so cool. We can tell that the scales are made from a really nice black packawood. I love packawood. I think it's a very durable material, and I think it's a very beautiful material. We can also tell that we've got a flipper here to open it up. So let's go ahead and flip that open so we can see the blade itself. Look at that. Did you see how smoothly that blade opened? I love that. So the blade itself is made from an M390 steel. Now, M390 steel is known for being very tough and having great wear and corrosion resistance. So that's a really nice steel to have on a blade. Now, you noticed how smoothly that opened. We can tell that this isn't a spring-assisted blade, and that's not a ball bearing design either. This is actually just a standard blade that's so well machined that it just opens up perfectly. Now we can also tell that we've got a very nice sturdy liner lock in there, and then the blade itself, oh man, that's extremely sharp. And the tip, oh, very, very sharp. But I want to test this thing out. I want to make sure that lock's going to hold up for us. So let's go ahead and stab just a little bit. This Wing Chun dummy is so damaged. Go ahead and stab over here. Oh yeah, I mean, that is just beautiful. See how nicely that comes out. Very nicely. Throw it into reverse grip, stab the top. Oh yeah, that is great. I love that. Hey Amanda, why don't you come and check this one out a little bit, because it fits my hand just perfectly. But I think it's going to be a good knife for you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very comfortable for me as well. I mean, it's basically my entire hand, but also at the same time, it's still very smooth, very comfortable. I think it's actually a really good knife. I specifically chose this one myself. Oh, cool. And so, yeah, I guess
Yeah, it still does it.
What's your favorite part of it?
I like the steel.
The steel.
I think the steel is great, and I've also been looking for like more weapons that have different types of steel compared to normal, and I think it's a really good solid.
Like a little better quality steel.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the steel is impressive, but for me, I think my favorite part is just how smooth it opens. I mean, how satisfying is this click? Boom. I love that. That is so nice. So I am really digging this knife. In fact, this might be one that I start to carry myself. Such a perfect little knife. Now the total length is approximately 8.5 inches. The blade length is approximately 4 inches, and the total weight is about 1.8 ounces. So very, very light knife. But that's about all I have to say about this, so I'm going to go ahead and put that away. And let's move on to our last item. All right, and our last item is the Diamond Grip Titanium Nunchaku. I love these things. Now these are made in America by Combative, so they are only available on combative.com. And one of the cool things about Combative is they make a lot of different weapons in titanium. So if you're into titanium, definitely check out combative.com. Now these are specifically machined from a grade 9 titanium, which means that they are even stronger than commercially pure titanium. Plus, grade 9 titanium is corrosion and rust resistant, so this is an excellent metal when it comes to martial arts weapons. They only weigh about 1 pound 4 ounces, so that is a little heavier than wooden nunchaku, but that is much lighter than the steel or solid aluminum nunchucks we carry. Now if we take a closer look at them, we can see that they've got this really nice diamond grip pattern that's been machined into the handles, so that's going to make them very slip resistant when you're using the nunchucks. But I want to test these out because I want to see just how durable this titanium is. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on my safety glasses, and let's reposition this Wing Chun dummy just a little bit. Maybe to that side. That looks pretty good. So all right, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. All right, and then we'll strike this way just a little bit because I want to see if these things will bend at all. Oh man, did you see that? Oh man. Now, if that did not do any damage to that handle at all, we're looking pretty good. All right, so you can see we've got a little bit of scuffing down here. There are literally no dents or any sort of damage to this handle at all. All we'd have to do is just take a little bit of steel wool, and we can clean up that little scuffing right there. Now the handle length is approximately 12 inches with a diameter of approximately 1 inch, and these are made in the USA. But once again, make sure to check your local laws just to make sure you're not doing anything wrong. But that's about all I have to say about this, so make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which weapon you like best this week. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel, and check out KarateMart.com because we've got all sorts of awesome weapons on there right now. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday.